Okay, so in this video, I want to go over some of these definitions again. We were comparing consumer lease to credit sale. We were also comparing creditor to lessor. The term lessor means, or leaseor, I think I've been saying lessor, or I think I've been saying lessor this whole time. I think it's leaser. Okay. The term leasor means a person who is regularly engaged in leasing, offering to lease, or arranging to lease. Let's see what if they have a definition for lease. Credit bureau, creditor. Okay. Okay. We'll find it this way. Well, they have consumer lease. Okay. They have consumer lease, so let's do consumer lease. The term leasor means a person who is regularly engaged in leasing, offering to lease, or arranging to lease under a consumer lease. A consumer lease is a contract by a natural person. No, a consumer, I'm trying to take some of these words out because they'll confuse you. If it's too many words, they will confuse you. The term consumer lease means a contract in the form of a lease. So it's a contract that says lease on it. So consumer lease means a contract for the use of personal property by a natural person for a period of time exceeding 4 months. And for a total contractual obligation not exceeding 50,000, primarily for personal, family, and household purposes. Whether or not the lease has the option to purchase or otherwise become the owner of the property at the expiration of the lease. Except that such term, consumer lease, shall not include any credit sale. So a consumer lease is not a credit sale. It is not a lease for agricultural business or commercial purposes or to a government agency, instrumentality, or to an organization. It is for primarily for personal, family, and household purposes. It is not a credit sale. What is a credit sale? Any sale in which the seller is a creditor. What is a creditor? Someone who regularly extends credit. The person to whom the debt arising from the consumer credit transaction is payable in the face of the evidence of indebtedness. Let's break that down. Creditor is the person to whom the debt is payable. Okay? It's the person to whom the debt is initially payable on the face of the evidence of indebtedness, like a check, okay, or the contract. Or if there is no evidence of indebtedness, by agreement. The person to whom the debt is initially payable by agreement. Or in the case of an open end credit plan involving a credit card, the card issuers are creditors. Okay? That's it. The term credit sale refers to any sale in which the seller is a creditor. The term includes any contract in the form of a bailment or lease. So they're saying a credit sale and a consumer lease is not the same. A consumer lease is not a credit sale. Hmm. Does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense to me. Um, creditor. That it doesn't make sense because that would essentially mean credit is not for personal use. So we're going to go back to credit. The term credit means the right granted by a creditor to a debtor to defer payment of debt. Credit sale. How do you sell credit? Any sale in which the seller is a creditor. So maybe this is talking about maybe a private transaction. So this sounds private. A credit sale, any sale in which the seller is the creditor. It doesn't say that the lessor is a credit, that the lessor and the seller is the same thing. The leaser and the seller is the same thing. Credit sale refers to any sale which the seller is a creditor. The term includes any contract in the form of a bailment or lease. If the bailee or leasee contracts to pay as compensation for use a sum substantially equivalent to or in excess of the aggregate value of the property and services involved. And it is agreed that the bailee or lessee will become the owner of the property upon full compliance with its obligations under the contract. So that's not a public thing. Okay, they were confusing me with consumer lease and credit sale. Consumer lease, public, credit sale, private. All right. So I'm glad we got that under. We have an understanding on that. Let's move forward. We are past disclosure requirements. We're going on to 1632, form of disclosure.